Welcome to Lineups and Lures. Join hosts Joe and Chris as they break down the biggest stories in professional and amateur sports and reel in the best fishing stories and tips. Whether it's game day strategy or the perfect catch, we've got you covered. Grab your gear and get ready. This is Lineups and Lures. The 2025 Masters is in the books. Rory has secured the career Grand Slam. Good for him. I think it's great to see somebody create a feat like that, 5 people in history had ever done.
I think he was
him.
6, but yes.
Yeah, so pretty cool to see, even though he tried to throw it away there on
multiple
on
times.
18.
Yeah, I think just in general, what a great Sunday afternoon with, Bryson seemingly just shooting himself in the foot there on 11 and 12. And then before you know it, Rory makes the biggest mistake of his life with the chip shot on 13 that finds the creek. And before you know it, everybody's looking around going, wait a second here.
Yeah, this is wide open.
And then Justin Rose coming from, 6 back to go. I think he had 10 birdies on the round and still ended up at 6 under to get in the playoff. But, yeah, I mean, Rory just made that mistake on 18 the first time and put it in the bunker and with a gap wedge in his hand. I mean, so he definitely was feeling the nerves along the way. But as a spectator, magnificent Sunday afternoon. The drama certainly was building. And at the end there, it could have really been 3 or 4 guys. But no, Rory held on, and good for him.
Well, it's just nice. I mean, that was one thing I said. I want to see the best golfers in the world coming down on Sunday. And you look at that, Bryson, Rory, Patrick Reed was there, Jason Day, Auberg, Scheffler, Rose, Schauffele. Like those last 4 or 5 groups were
That's what a major
good.
Should look like.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And like you said, it made for great TV, and Rory missing that putt on 18 just made it just a little bit better.
Yeah, no, once again, didn't disappoint. Phenomenal tournament. The Masters did a great job again this year, and, wait till next year.
That's right. Do you think, so talking about the career Grand Slam, do you think there's anybody else that's going to have a legitimate shot at getting a career Grand Slam?
Scheffler.
How close is he? Do you know off the top of your head?
Yeah, he's got 2 out of 4. He's got the Masters, and he's got, the U.S. Open, I believe?
I think so.
Scheffler's in play.
Okay. Anybody else you think?
That's funny, right? Like, I think it could be something where, what does Phil need?
Well, that's what I was thinking. Is there anybody else that's missing, one?
Yeah, I mean, I'd need to go and do the homework on where's Dustin, where's Brooks, where's Phil. He might have one more miracle in him.
Did he even make the cut this week?
I think he was right there.
He was close.
But you got to remember, he's 2 years removed from winning a major. So he's one of those guys that he needs to just catch fire on the right week.
Yeah, so Phil's got 3 out of the 4. He's got the Masters, the PGA, and the Open.
The British or U.S.?
Well, that'd be the U.S. Open. This is the Open Championship.
Okay, so he needs the U.S. Open.
Yeah.
Man, he sprays it around with the driver. That's a tough one for him. I think he missed his shot when Jeff Ogilvy pipped him at the peg there 10, 15, 20 years ago. So, I mean, look, I wouldn't rule out DJ. I wouldn't rule out Brooks because he's just one of those guys. If he gets in the right mood one week, he can do it. Scheffler's in play. And then I think, there's a few guys that maybe you go, but, is a Colin Morikawa guy that a guy can do that. Bryson has got all the firepower in the world. So these are athletes that take really good care of their bodies. They look more like football and baseball and basketball players than they do golfers anymore.
That's not always a good thing, though. Because if you look back at Tiger Woods' career, he was on a great trajectory, kind of crushing it. And then he kind of took that time and goes, I'm going to bulk up and I'm going to get big and strong. And that's really when all of his injuries started. So it's a sport for flexibility.
Absolutely. And
you don't see the dailies and the big, thick guys lasting very long.
You won't. That's an era of time going by.
Yeah.
So, no, great question. I think there are 3 or 4 guys in the mix. And, sometimes it just needs, the ball needs to bounce your way that weekend. So, yeah, we'll see.
Yeah, so with the Masters being here, everybody kind of gets excited for the golf season. And, it's been 70, 75 this week. So a lot of people in my friend group have been out golfing this week. going to the driving range, breaking the clubs out. So do you get any golf in the last couple of weeks?
I played my second round in 7 months just yesterday. It was too good of an opportunity to pass up on a round out at Astoria. So I drove out to the beach and played out there, and it was as advertised, let me tell you.
Nice.
So, yeah.
Yeah, it's you watch that on TV and you're like, I could go out there and do that. So
yes,
we might have to start getting a weekly group together. A bunch of our coaches have been wanting to go play, so kind of put together like 2 foursomes and get out, hit a course once a week just to get outside.
Yeah, no, it certainly does get the juices going, and yeah, no, it's it's good. It's good to be outside, get some exercise, some fresh air, and there may have even been a cold beer or two after the round.
Step up your game at Portland Baseball Club. Whether you're a beginner looking to learn the fundamentals or an experienced player ready to take your skills to the next level, our expert coaches are here to help you succeed. Our training programs focus on developing key skills such as hitting, pitching, fielding, and game strategy through personalized instruction and hands-on drills. Join us for specialized clinics, one-on-one coaching, group training sessions, and year-round tournament teams tailored to all skills and age levels. With state-of-the-art facilities and a supportive environment, you'll gain the confidence and expertise to excel on the field. Don't miss your chance to become a part of Portland's premier baseball community and elevate your game today. Learn more at portlandbaseballclub.com and see how we inform, instruct, and inspire the next generation of athletes. All right, the Mariners are rolling a little bit. Starting to win some baseball games. Bats are coming alive. Big game today. Just before we recorded, the Mariners and the Reds and kind of came back with 2 solo home runs in the 9th and kind of put it to them there in extra innings with an 11-7 win. So I guess the question is should we be starting to think of Cal Raleigh as an MVP candidate at this point? Because the power numbers, the torpedo bat has just kind of changed his game. I mean, he got 8 home runs right now? He's definitely the leader on the team. I mean, he is. We talked earlier that it was whatever Julio goes is how the team's going to go. Right now, that is Cal Raleigh carrying that team.
I think Cal's doing exactly what he did last year. He's hitting 210, 215, leading home runs, leading the team in extra base hits, being an absolute menace in the middle of the lineup, playing all-star defense. As far as MVP candidate, not quite. He'd need to have 50, 60 more points on that batting average, but Cal is definitely, leader on the team. He is the rock in the middle of that lineup, and he's as advertised, and I think he's earning $100 million he just got.
Yeah, a lot of times you see guys sign those contracts and they kind of relax a little bit and you see a dip in numbers, but this guy's going the opposite direction.
Well, and I think there's, when it comes to getting paid in professional sports, there's 2 types of athletes. There's the ones that would do it for free and they just want to go be the best they can, and I think he falls into that category. And there's the other guys that, there might be a guy down in Anaheim that's played, 1 game in about 3 years. And, for them, it's all about, I got the paycheck, and now it's just kind of cruise control. So I think the Mariners did well, and Cal is definitely holding up his end of the bargain.
Yeah, and we haven't really seen a big dip in the offense after losing Robles and Bliss.
Right.
You kind of thought that we were going to see a little bit of a dip, but Dylan Moore's the real deal. Like, that guy is putting up some numbers, and if you look back to last year, this is where I'm afraid, is he's streaky. He's going to put 2 weeks together, and he's going to look like an all-star, and then he puts 2 weeks together where he looks like he should be back in AAA. So if he can keep up this consistency, I mean, he's hitting 300 right now. He's stealing bases. Like, he's getting on base a lot. He's showing some power.
Playing Gold Glove defense.
Dude's got 4 home runs. And a couple Oppo tacos, that's pretty good.
Yeah, no, I think Demo is making a really strong argument for maybe being the everyday second baseman. The benefit of having a guy like him in the lineup is, I think back to those great teams like 00-01 teams, and they had a guy like Mark McLemore that was our utility guy back then?
Yeah, played everywhere.
Demo is like today's version of our Mark McLemore, where you can literally plug him in. I'm sure he's got a nasty slider too if you let him up on the mound, but he's been a huge part of the deal. Julio is playing well. Arozarena has hit timely. Still, that average is not where I'd like to see it. And I think a way too early take is that Williamson doesn't seem to be scared of the Major League Baseball scene. He is definitely a defensive first, third baseman, but having some defense on the left side, Polanco now being basically our everyday DH.
Or first base.
And that's because first base right now is a problem because the big guy, Tellez, needs to find himself another profession. He cannot hit at the major league level. And then Solano has not done a whole lot yet. I know he's a veteran in the league, been around a long time, but at some point it's going to be time for him and Gava to either produce or we got to go young and bring up more guys. I mean, there's Locklear sitting down there in AAA. There's Ford, the catcher, sitting down there at AAA, both of whom have got, offensive potential as well. So, a lot of positives, nice going. What are we, 5 out of 6 on this little streak here? Still a few holes in the bullpen that we've noticed that if you're really going to compete down the line. But like I said, I think we're a battle so away and maybe a bullpen arm or so away. But more positives than negatives at the minute.
Yeah, I would say the batting is way ahead of where I thought we'd be. And bringing on Williamson, like you said, he's showing that he's not overmatched at the major league level. And that's not just in like the hits, but you look at exit velo. I mean, he's getting good barrel on baseballs, and he's doing what he needs to do. Polanco's kind of adjusting pretty well over there at first base, so that might be a good spot for him. And if Dylan Moore keeps doing what he's doing, everyday second baseman's not out of line for him.
No.
And Mastrobone's been playing great too. Like I think he was in the top 5% in exit velo, which you look at a guy of that size and stuff, you would not expect it.
Right.
So he's hitting the ball hard and getting on base and was doing some good things. So, I like where our offense is, even though we're not putting up quite the runs. And baseball's a streaky sport, so it's hard. And now we're just riding that Cal wave, and hopefully, as he starts to slow down, Julio picks it up or Randy picks it up. You always need that one guy that's kind of on fire.
Yeah, and let's remember we are still in April. I mean, the average game time temp is certainly not what it's going to be in July, August. So, the ball will fly further as we get into, the dark days of summer here. But no, the Mariners, I think, are doing great. Yes, it's nice to see them winning. We're still a couple of guys away, I firmly believe. So that's still a little frustrating, but hey, if you win in baseball games, you win in baseball games.
Well, and as long as we don't fall behind too far in the West, and right now we're, middle, maybe creeping up into second place. The Angels can't last forever.
Right.
Although there are some experts out there that are saying that could be a surprise team if they stay healthy. I mean, Trout's healthy, and he's got like 7 home runs, 8 home runs on the year. I mean, even last year he played really well before he got injured, so I just don't think they have the pitching and stuff down the stretch. But Texas is struggling a little bit.
Let me ask you something. Do all 5 teams in the American League East make the playoffs?
The American League East?
Yeah.
3 out of the 5, most likely. 4 out of the 5, it could happen.
Well, I think only 4 of them can make it anyway, right?
Yeah.
So, all right. But can 4 out of 5 get there?
That's a good question.
I mean, is Tampa the odd one out in that scenario? Is it Toronto? You got to figure that you're taking Baltimore, Boston, and the Yankees. You got to figure those 3 are making the playoffs.
Is Baltimore making the playoffs?
Well,
I think their manager's about to get fired
for the way he's mishandling the arms.
Yeah, there's a lot of discussion about mishandling pitching, lineup construction, calling out players. I think, according to some of the stuff I was reading, you might be losing the clubhouse a little bit. And with that young talent, I'm not sure how long that private funding group's going to allow that to go on. They need to win. They want to make money.
We know a guy that might be able to help answer us these questions. We should probably reach out to him. What do you think?
He's a little busy trying to get them out of the cellar, but yeah. The thing with Tampa, though, is they're playing in a minor league ballpark.
Right.
So you got the Yankees coming to town this weekend.
Playing in their
spring training field.
Right.
Even though the dimensions of the field are the exact same as Yankee Stadium, that stadium's given up the second most home runs this year. So it kind of changes how the Rays play this year on that field. And I think it's helping them a little bit as the season goes along.
Well, I think the other thing to consider there is weather. It's Tampa. It's warm. Ball's flying.
Yeah.
When it starts warming up here, we get into June, July, August, September, where the northern cities are going to get in the middle of their summer. That'll change the way the ballparks play too. So I think that's more of a. I don't think it's a fluke. I think it's more of just weather, and it's easier to hit the ball in 80 degrees than it is in 45. That's a fact. So yeah.
Yeah. Plus, it's a little bit shorter seating and everything, so I don't think it creates that kind of dome effect, even though it's not a dome. But I think the wind affects it, and then heat affects it a little bit more. Because you're even seeing balls flying out of Sacramento. I mean, there's a lot of home runs being hit in those two games. So usually if I'm doing a FanDuel daily fantasy, I'm looking for somebody playing in Tampa and somebody playing in Sacramento.
Is Sacramento at elevation?
I don't think it's at elevation, but it's warm.
Well,
so
right.
It's been pretty hot.
Okay.
And that definitely affects ball flight there.
Got it. Okay.
So, but to answer your question, I think there's probably 3 teams that still make it out of the AL East.
Yep.
I assume the Orioles will make a comeback and get themselves back into contention. But
and they need an arm. I mean, their starting pitching is tough.
I got an arm for him. We got an arm.
Yeah, but who are we getting back?
Colby Mayo. That solves our third base potential. Guy can hit. He can play third. And that would be a deal that I think that they'd be willing to make. And I think Colby might be asking his agent for something because he did not sound too happy getting sent down to AAA to start the season.
And are you talking that for Luis?
Yeah.
Okay.
I think they can afford it, and they know they have a short window, so they need to go get an established number 1, number 2 guy.
Yeah.
And that might be the best guy, and they have a prospect that seems to be blocked, so maybe they move him.
Which is crazy considering they let one of the best pitchers in baseball walk when they already had that guy on the roster. But he got $200 million, so maybe that was a little stiff for what they were willing to spend.
Yeah, and losing Eflin this early in the season to a lat strain. I mean, just because he's on the 15, but that's a week's not a that could be a while.
So staying on baseball for a little bit, we were talking about this off air earlier, but explain or give me your take, I should say, on the dominance of the National League over the American League currently in Major League Baseball.
Well, I think we talked about this a couple weeks ago.
Okay.
Because the Dodgers have set a bar that's so high that all these National League teams are just trying to amass all-stars talent. And because they know that, hey, they might win their division. Hey, they might make the playoffs. But in order for them to beat the Dodgers, they have to have an all-star-esque player at nearly every position. So I think that the balance of power is shifted to the National League just because of that. Those teams know, hey, if I want to win a World Series, I got to beat the Dodgers, which means I need to have 7 number 1s on my staff. I need to have an all-star at every position. That's pretty hard to do. So they're going to go out and spend the money and the capital to try to win now.
Yeah, when you look at, I think, the teams in the National League that are truly, truly trying to compete with the Dodgers, obviously, you've got the Mets in there. You've got the Phillies in there. San Diego, I think, has to be into that mix. They would be my top 3 to go with the Dodgers. But the only team in the American League that I think even comes close to any of that is the Yankees. So, yeah, I think then is Atlanta in that mix as well? I mean, there's a lot of teams out there. So the National League just seems very dominant right now.
Hey there, I'm Chad with Jackson Painting and Remodel, and if you're looking to give your home a fresh new look, you've come to the right place. Whether you need a bold new color for your living room or a fresh coat to brighten up your home's exterior, my team and I have got you covered. We specialize in both indoor and outdoor painting, using only the best materials to make sure your space looks amazing and stands the test of time. If you're ready to transform your home, visit jacksonpainting.com. I'd love to come by, chat about your ideas, and give you a free estimate. At Jackson Painting and Remodel, we don't just paint, we make your vision a reality. Again, visit jacksonpainting.com or call 503-620-2600.
So Beaver baseball picked up a big midweek win this week, going down to UCLA. Battle of 2 top 10 teams, and came out with a fairly decisive victory, which was great to see. Heading into a weekend where they should be looking at 3 wins against Northridge. Everything kind of leading up to 2 weeks from now, or I guess a week and a half from now, against against a 4-game set with Oregon. So they're playing pretty good baseball right now, and that UCLA win was big. That was important.
Yeah, and I think there's been a few surprises this year on both the plus and the negative side of things. Dallas Macias seems to continue to struggle and looks like he may be permanently out of the lineup. Cannon Rita really came out of nowhere. Tolt has been a great addition to the lineup now, anchoring the leadoff hole. Arquette and Turley have been as advertised right lately. I mean, those boys are just hitting the cover off the thing right now. The back end of the bullpen is still a little bit of a concern, but I think that's just a concern in college baseball. But the kid I wanted to talk about a little bit was McIntyre, that came just out of nowhere. And it's going to be hard to keep not writing that kid's name in the lineup.
I think you got to ride the hot hand.
Right.
I mean, the kid's hitting. He's producing with 2 for 4 with a bomb. I mean, that's pretty darn good. So you ride that hot hand, and if he rocks an 0 for 7 or something, now maybe you go back to Macias or
there might be a quick
somebody
hook
else.
there, right?
But
Yeah.
Hey, you got to take advantage of your opportunities, and that's what he did. He got a start, came out, played well, and even one of our local guys, Levi Jones, out of Jesuit, he got a shot. He hit pretty well, produced. There's some good stuff going on at the bottom of that lineup, which is very important.
Yeah, there is, and it seems that it's afforded Mitch the ability to left-right with his hitters coming, especially late-game situations, knowing that, if Dallas doesn't start, there's a left-handed bat. If he wants to go to the, whoever it is, whether it's Rita, whether it's Levi, whether it's now McIntyre, one of these, two of the 3 of those guys don't get to play, which means their bat's available, and even potentially for a pinch run situation somewhere. Depth it's a great problem to have, right?
Well, just getting those guys at bats and getting to really see what they can do. We've talked about it with the pitching staff and the bullpen. You're going to get into some regional, super regional type stuff where you have to, because of changes or a late game comeback and, situations dictate pinch hitters or pinch runners or a new arm coming out of the pen.
Right.
You have to know what that 34th man on the roster can provide you in an important game. And that's really what all these league, I guess if you want to call them league games, are for, is to give everybody a chance to get out there. I mean, obviously, your Arquettes and those guys are going to rack up, 10-1 on the at-bats, but being able to get Levi Jones and all those kind of bench guys, 20, 30 at-bats throughout the course of the year, that's just going to help you come playoff time.
Yeah, it's going to help for number one. A, it's good for them to get a look. 2, obviously, you hate to say it, injuries are a part of sports, and you hope no one goes down, but you got to have that next man up mentality. So at least giving people the opportunity to see some live pitching, get into some games, I think those are all positives. And I think with the way their schedule has been, this is kind of a get-right week not really a get-right week, but it should be a week where they are clearly the better team. They've had a huge series against Irvine last weekend, then the big game against UCLA during the week. Obviously, we just mentioned that with the Ducks coming up, a 4-game set next weekend, this should be one where it's, hey, let's just go in there, get after it early, take care of business, put these games beyond doubt, and let's get on the plane and go home and enjoy Easter break and, get ready for the Ducks come Monday. So,
there's also a flip side to that, and
what's
that is we got the Ducks next weekend. We're going down to Northridge and playing a team that we should take 3 at easily. And now you're starting to overlook. Plus, you got 2 midweeks with Gonzaga, which is a pretty good team. They took a couple from UW, which is quietly working their way up the Big Ten standings. That's become a pretty good team after losing to D3 PLU. They really turned it around. So that's good to see. So it's kind of one of those catch games. It could be a catch weekend where they come out and go, well, we're going to beat these guys. So hopefully that doesn't happen. I can't foresee that happening.
No, I think that coaching staff is just too professional to let that happen. And I think there's enough guys on that roster that have been around the program for long enough to know that you only get so many chances, and hosting a super regional is paramount to the Beavs getting to Omaha.
Yes.
That's just, I think the statistic over the last 2 years, I believe they are 41-3 at Gus. That is just ridiculous, and no one wants to come play there. They're going to have to maintain a 4, 5, 6 ranking to get that super regional because they don't have that, Pac-12 championship weekend anymore. So, I mean, this is going to be a rough stretch. I mean, they play 3 in a row, take a day off, and then they're back Monday, Tuesday against, like you said, the Zags. So pitching's going to get tested, depth's going to get tested, and that's where I'd really like to see the guys just come out, go and hang a couple of squiggly numbers on the board in the first couple innings and give your pitchers a breather.
So one of the fun things that D1Baseball.com does is periodically, starting about this time, they start posting a way too early prediction of the field of 64.
Okay.
So the predictions that came out this week had the Beavs coming in as the 8 seed, hosting a regional.
Okay.
And based on the seedings of the 64, here are the teams that they had coming to Corvallis for a regional. So you got Oregon, Kansas, Gonzaga.
Jiminy Christmas. Good luck getting a ticket to those games.
That's a good regional right there. Especially being Northwest, 3 Northwest teams. That's some good baseball.
Yeah, I highly doubt the NCAA will put a Civil War together in a regional, maybe a super regional, we'll see, but that would be interesting. That place would be absolutely rocked. It would be packed to the brim.
I used to say that they would do it because of travel restrictions and they keep costs down for universities, but supporting the demolition of the Pac-12, they clearly don't care about travel and expenses of teams anymore, so I don't think that's a reason why Oregon would necessarily go to Oregon State.
No, there's it would be
electric.
Yeah, no, that'd be fun, and I don't think there'd be a whole lot of green and gold in the seats those days. I'm not sure Beaver fans are selling that ticket no matter how much money they can get.
Yeah, absolutely. No, that'd be fun. I hope that happens because that'd be really good for Northwest baseball. All right. We had our first youth tournaments of the year this past weekend. It's amazing some of the things you see on a baseball field at the 12, 13, 14-year-old age levels.
Amazing is one word you could use.
Yeah. There's just a lot of things that, you go to a major league game, you go to a college game, you go to a high school game, you don't see any of this stuff. But in youth baseball, it seems to be just everyday occurrence now.
Anything particular you want to talk about?
I got a lot of things to talk about.
Well, let's hear some of it.
We'll hit on a couple things. So,
okay.
One of the first things we saw was at our 12U game. Ear flaps and the face protectors is a big thing. All the MLB guys are doing it.
You got the double flapper.
We had a double flapper. And I got to tell you, there's not a lot of switch hitters at 12 years old.
No.
There's not a lot of switch hitters in baseball in general. But yeah, this guy walked up to the plate with the double ear flap. And
how was the rest of his quote unquote drip?
He wasn't dripped out. He just had the double mask. So.
And by the way, I only know that word because my kid's 14 years old and I learned it from him.
We can blame football for a lot of this, but that's a discussion for another day.
Okay.
So the double ear flap was a good one. That was interesting. I'm just curious how he got his helmet off. I never really looked at that because I guess you got to go straight up. You can't really tilt the cap.
Well, those things aren't fixed like the full helmet, right? There's given.
You're gonna reach the front of your face and pull them apart and flip the helmet off.
I don't know.
Why don't you just put a face mask on it?
You just go full girl softball and just put the whole cage on.
Girl softball. It was just a face mask. It's just a mask. It's not a softball mask.
Okay.
It's just a face mask.
Just full catcher's helmet up there.
There we go. Hockey style.
Full hockey style mask. Taking care of those pearly whites, babe.
Yeah. So that was a good one. That was entertaining. Another good one we saw was everybody wants to paint their face. Used to be known as eye black. Helped to reduce the glare.
I'm familiar. I played with it every day.
Yeah. So how many times did you on your right cheek draw a smiley face, and on your left cheek draw a cross or a claw, or just paint half of your face black?
Well, the answer, of course, is 0 because I actually was a baseball player, and other than the traditional line under each eye, no, there was no painting.
Wait, so you never painted on a mustache and a goatee with your eye black?
Well, that not on myself.
That's a different story. Pranks are different than looking yourself in the mirror and drawing a handlebar mustache with eye black before a baseball game.
Yeah, you see, I used to wear sunglasses when I was playing in Australia as a junior. And then when coming up to the Northwest, the sunglasses weren't required a whole bunch of the time, especially when you're playing in the Northwest in February and March. So I switched to the eye black, but yeah.
Eye black is meant to decrease the deflection of the sun
Correct.
into your eyes and decrease brightness. Well, you know, in April in Oregon, there's not always a lot of sun. So we had a day where it was, it rained. It wasn't that bright out.
Nope.
But
it was maybe 50 degrees because I went and watched, the high school game before coming out to watch, the junior out at Delta Park there. So, yeah, no, it wasn't that. I had a full winter coat on.
Yeah, it got a little chilly there for a little bit, but I'm just not sure how a smiley face on one side of your face is deflecting the sun, and that's going to be a great tan line come Monday morning.
I just, at some point, this has got to stop. I mean, you do it the right way.
Well, here's the question. At what point does it stop being cute and just become eyewash? And I'm going to say we saw this on a 12U player, so this is probably a 5th, 6th grader, probably still at the cute level. But at what point do you just kind of look at a guy and go, "Man, you're just a clown"? And then how do your parents allow that?
Middle school.
Coaches?
Middle school.
So what grades is that?
6 through 8.
So a 12-year-old probably shouldn't be writing a smiley face.
He's a bubble kid. Yeah, you're right. If you ever saw it on a high school kid, he'd probably just get laughed at by the guys in the locker room. I think. And I will tell you, I guarantee you the parents were encouraging this as well. They probably thought it was cute, awesome, whatever you want to say. But I think once you get to 12, 13, 14, you select travel, tournament-style baseball, it's time to be a baseball player, no longer a clown show.
Yep. All right, I got 2 more for you.
Okay.
I got a lot more, but this is all we're going to talk about today. This thing could go on for a good hour and a half. When a pitcher picks off and throws the ball to first base, first runner on first dives back in, we've started this thing now with a lot of teams where the entire dugout will start chanting ball, 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 which implies that the first baseman is still holding onto the baseball. So therefore, you should probably just lay on the ground until you hear the dugout yell ball out. And that means that the first baseman is throwing the ball back to the pitcher. At what point did we stop teaching kids to dive back into a base, keep their hand on the base,
Put their foot on the base,
walk up, put their foot on the base, and then stand on the base? At what point did we have to start telling them that the ball is still there by doing an obnoxious chant and then throw the ball back and everybody does it? Now, there's arguments. It keeps the dugout engaged, right? Well, if you all yell back when the pitcher picks, is that keeping them engaged? I think that's good enough, isn't it?
I hate it personally. I think it's ridiculous. I think there's absolutely no need for it. There are going to be coaches, like you said, that say it keeps the bench engaged. It protects against essentially the hidden ball trick or whatever you want to call it, not throwing the ball back. But you've got a first base coach standing there. Like you said, just put your foot on the base and stand up, find the baseball, and go back to work. So yes, no, I've seen that, and this is not new. This is probably 2-3 years. This has been happening now, and yeah, I don't see any need for it at any level of baseball.
If you're a good coach, you teach your kid to dive, keep his hand on the base, keep his foot on the base, and stand on the base. You don't need to have everybody telling him where the baseball is, because you dive back, you look up, you find the baseball, you walk up to the base, you see the guy throw the ball to the pitcher. And if the pitcher's standing on the dirt, he has to have the baseball by rule. So you're not getting you're not on the dirt of the mound. Pitchers aren't allowed on the dirt of the mound without the baseball, or it's considered a balk. So if you are going to run the hidden ball trick, the pitcher has to be off of the dirt mound.
Right. Okay.
But that's the first base coach's job.
And look, here's the other thing. Let's say it was a tight bang play. You got caught leaning and you really had to go back. Keep your hand on the base. The umpire's standing right there. Call time. He'll give it to you.
Now we like to do that every single time.
Well,
because you got to clean off your sliding mitt.
the oven mitt.
Definitely see. I will say I did not see any kitchen oven mitts this week. It's not too late.
No, I mean,
nor did I see any double oven mitts. That's always the good one too, and the double sliding mitts are on there.
Oh, I'm sure we'll find a kid with that, and I think maybe we get some teams that are maybe from a little further out of town. I think you might see some gardening gloves. I think you might get the oven mitts definitely in play.
Yeah. I mean, we had a kid back, years ago, Connor Woyan. I mean, this kid hit every day, grinder, right, all the way through high school. He was hitting with those $295 gardening gloves, leather working gloves. That was his batting gloves. So was that eyewash or was that just him? He was just going through so many gloves. It's kind of like when you get to community college and, coach is like, hey, no batting gloves. You're just trying to toughen up a little bit. But, man, these sliding mitts is out of control.
All right, so we agree. Sliding mitts, bad. What next?
Not bad. In proper application, they're appropriate. All right, last one. And this one really gets
hold on a second. I got one last thing back to the sliding mitts. When we played, we were taught, just hold your batting gloves in your hand so you've got little fists there, and that way your fingers don't get broken.
Yes.
Does that not work anymore?
Well, you said the key word there is teach. So if you're not taught to hold your batting gloves, but also these kids go out and buy $120 pair of Bruce bolts, you think that they want to slide and hold their batting gloves and get them all dirty and scrape them?
$120 for a pair of batting gloves?
Yeah.
Do you get a steak dinner with that too?
They come in a nice shiny bag in a bunch of colors, and then they have the wrist strap, so you don't have to tape your wrist anymore because there's like a 3-foot long wrist strap that you tighten around. It's big business.
Sorry,
right,
I'm still reeling. I'm still reeling from $120 for a pair of batting gloves, but okay.
All right, last one here. So we get to Sunday. This is my 14U team, which is my all 8th graders.
Okay.
We're facing another local team in the first round of the bracket play. So we go neck to neck. It's a 1-run game going into the 7th. They scratch one across where we actually walk the leadoff hitter, and as usual, the leadoff hitter scores. The leadoff hitter happened to also be the pitcher for the team.
Okay.
Has a really good at bat, walks, steals second. I think there was a single or something, so he ended up scoring from second base. So this kid goes 7 innings. Our pitcher went 7 innings. It was a great pitcher's duel. Come to find out during the game, this kid is a freshman in high school.
Okay.
Playing against a whole bunch of 8th graders.
Okay.
He is a varsity baseball player as a freshman.
Okay.
At a local high school.
What level of local high school?
6A.
6A program.
He's a 6A varsity baseball player as a freshman.
Okay.
And he's not just on the roster. You can look up his stats. He's thrown like 10 innings early on in the season. He's gotten 25-something at-bats at the varsity level. And here we are in a 8th grade 14U tournament facing a freshman that is playing high school baseball. Why are kids playing down?
Because mom and dad feel the need to get the trophy. I saw it in hoops so much. It was, look, as far as I'm concerned, the only person getting the disservice here is that kid. Because at least your guys, they got to see a better competition of player by playing better competition. That's only going to make you a better player. So the only person getting the disservice is him.
Yes.
Which I think is just ridiculous. Like I said, I saw it a lot in basketball. And here's the take from, I spoke with a number of, my other parents, coaches. I think I've even spoken to you about this as well. There are some people out there where this might be their only shot to get to pay for college or to get something, and they are trying to manipulate whatever they can to get there. If maybe they don't come from a very financially stable background, those kinds of things. I mean, I can at least see the justification, and I can see people doing that. Does it work? Probably not. 9 times out of 10, it probably didn't change anything. And, I can see where, and here's the other thing. As a parent that's been there and done it, I mean, we went up to a couple of basketball tournaments years ago in Seattle, and we were literally playing kids, and this was when, 6th and 7th grade hoop. There were kids on some of these Seattle teams that literally had a full beard.
Yes. And
they were my size. They were 6'3", 200 pounds, and they're going up against our 6th and 7th graders that are 5'4" and 86 pounds dripping wet. Yep. It was just silly. I mean, and I'm like, okay, congratulations, you guys won. we all got frustrated because it was kind of a waste of time of going up there and playing in those tournaments because it just wasn't even a fair fight. It was silly. So I would like to see it, I would like to see it out. I mean, how is he even allowed to play in a 14U tournament?
Because he's age eligible. So as long as you are 14 as of a certain date, that makes you eligible to play in 14U baseball. Because it's by age, it's not necessarily by grade.
So here's the thing. Once again, the only person getting the disservice is him. Like, if you're a good player, go play up, man. Like, don't go play down, go play up.
Yeah.
That's what we all did as kids. I mean, if you were good, you went and played up. You wanted to go play with the next level up, and then you wanted to go play with the next level of that. I mean, sitting around and beating up on the little guys, good for you, man.
Yeah, boosting your ego. And then how does the high school coach feel? I mean, this kid went out and threw 80-something pitches in 7 innings on a Sunday, and they got 3 games. I know league play started this week, so they had 3 games this week. So let's say he's scheduled to throw for the varsity team on Tuesday. He's going to have to go to his coach and go, Coach, I can't throw. I just threw 80 on Sunday. Well, where'd you throw 80 at? Oh, I was pitching on 14U team. You're a varsity pitcher, and you're down there playing 8th grade baseball during the high school baseball season, which should be a no-no anyway, right? You should not be playing on 2 teams during the season. And if you're a high school baseball player, during the high school season, you should be playing on your high school team. Summer ball, different story. But for the season, you should just be focused on your high school team.
Yeah, that's a great point. You'd have to think that was a conversation with the coach, no? When do you need me this week? Can I throw this weekend?
Maybe. Does the coach know? There's a lot of things unknowns in this situation. But I mean, I just don't understand this whole mentality of a parent and a player going, I want to play against kids that are physically less mature than me. I mean, this kid, like I walked into the ballpark in the first inning, and I could see, I'm like, this guy's got a chest on him. He's physically mature.
Right.
You can see it in his face. Like you can just tell that this guy's on a different level.
Yes.
Why do you want to go compete against kids? And 8th grade, there's half of our team has hit puberty, half hasn't hit puberty. Why do you want to go beat up on a bunch of kids that are 5'6", 115 pounds? Like, it just doesn't make sense.
Yeah, it makes zero sense. I go back to the fact that it's mom and dad chasing a trophy. I don't get the mentality. So
it's also the coaches
wanting to win
as an organization. We have a standing policy. We don't let anybody play down. So if you're an 8th grader, you play 14U because that's 8th grade baseball. If you're a 7th grader, you play 13U. Now, do we let kids play up? Yeah. I mean, I've got freshmen that have played on our 18U team, our elite team, because they're good enough. But right. I don't have a high school freshman coming back and playing against a bunch of 8th graders. That's not good for them because it's supposed to be about the players.
Agreed.
Enjoyed Lineups and Lures? Like, share, and rate the show to help us grow. Don't forget to subscribe so you never miss an episode. Thanks for listening, and catch you next time on Lineups and Lures.